Hi there, Logic Language Learners. So this is part 2 of a video where I am explaining the difference between je me suis fait and je me suis faite. I'm a little bit less energetic than normal. I had an operation on Friday. There's all kinds of drugs in me, some of which are great, some of which are less great. But I've had a response to the video that I did. So you would need to see the first video. And basically what we're talking about is agreements, whether or not they happen with the auxiliary verb faire. So a little bit of a catch-up. If you used the passive form je me suis fait for I got, okay, you are not going to match fait. You're not going to have any E or any S on the end of the fait if there is an infinitive verb coming after the je me suis fait. Case in point. I got washed, je me suis fait laver. Now I got washed, je me suis lavé. If a woman said this or wrote this, there'd be an E on the end, there'd be a second E on the end of the E, on the end of the lavé. If a woman said I woke up, je me suis réveillé, there would be an extra E on the end of the E. If a woman said I got fired, je me suis fait virer, there wouldn't be an extra E on the end of the je me suis fait. And people go, well, why is that, Luke? I don't understand, because it's the verb that's coming after the je me suis. It just does not happen if you have an infinitive verb after the je me suis reflexive past model. So whether or not you understand that, if you just want to use that as a general rule, if you have an infinitive verb after faire, you are never going to have any matches, any E's, any S's, any of it at all. It's never going to match. The argument for that is if you're using a verb, an infinitive verb after faire, somebody else is doing that, yeah, whatever, grammar. But that's really the problem. So we had an email from, let me just read the response that we got, which is problematic because I basically did a video saying, look, je me suis fait will never be je me suis faite for a woman, unless, if you've got an infinitive after it. But we then had an email response from, let's just read this out, gallery. Hi Luke, Phil says. Hi Phil, we've spoken before. Hi Luke, help. Please can you explain the difference between using avoir fait and être fait? I have shown two of my native-speaking French correspondents the examples from Projet Voltaire, and they are as confused as me to the use of avoir faire. Example number 3. Les travaux qu'on a fait voter n'ont jamais été effectués. Is this not the same as les travaux qu'on s'est fait? So, right, I'm going to copy your response, Phil, into this answer. I hope you don't mind, just so that people can see what question I'm answering. So the first thing is, let's look at your question. Is this not the same as les travaux qu'on s'est fait? So, no, the first thing is this. People get really good at going from one thing in English to one thing in French. So you've got it in your mind that get is je me suis fait. So when you've written, is this not the same as les travaux qu'on s'est fait? You can't say les travaux qu'on s'est fait voter. In any expression where you use je me suis fait or any of the reflexive pasts and then an infinitive, it is that you are getting the verb which follows the faire done to yourself. So for example, if I said je me suis fait tuer, I got myself killed, or je me suis fait arrêter, or je me suis fait masser, I got myself killed, I got myself arrested, I got myself massaged, okay? Or I got massaged, okay? So if you've watched a video with me on how to do the word got, it's very likely that you've come up with that possibility. If I said the work that the men that I got employed, which is one of the examples in the text. So what's crucially going on here is the men are not employing anybody, I am not employing anybody. Because in the examples in the question that you ask about, Phil, in the ones that I gave on the Projet Voltaire, people go, and I imagine your French friends are possibly thinking, well, why don't you just say the work that you carried out? Because the point is, in the examples that we've given, I'm not doing it, or the person doing the verb isn't doing it. Neither is the other person in the sentence. So let's have a look at your example. So, I know this is high end, this is complicated, but you guys are capable. So, number 3 you've talked about. Les travaux, and I'm going to pop all of that underneath as well. So, les travaux qu'on a fait voter n'ont jamais été effectués. So it is the works, or the roadworks, or the carrying out work that we voted, or that got voted for. Or now you've got a separate issue here because on can sometimes be the passive use. But the fact is, les travaux didn't do the voting. Yeah, the on didn't do the voting. When you use faire plus another verb, the person that comes after that. So for example, if I say Luc me fait parler, Luc me fait parler, Luc is doing the verb faire. Luc makes me speak, but Luc is not doing the speaking. So in other words, Phil, to answer your question in a roundabout way, you're never, ever, ever, ever going to use... so if you use être with se and faire, it's going to then be followed by an infinitive verb, which means passively, I got, and then a verb that someone else has done to me. So for example, je me suis coupé les cheveux is I cut my hair. Je me suis fait couper les cheveux is I got my hair cut. Je me suis fait opérer, I got operated on, or ils m'ont opéré. You know, so in that answer, the verb that comes in the infinitive form after the je me suis, tu t'es, il s'est, or any tense, je me fais present tense, je me ferai. I am not doing that, okay? Likewise, in the examples that were given, the person using faire isn't doing the verb. So, for example, let's just go through them one by one, okay? So, number 1, ils se sont... So these are the ones that are problematic. So, ils se sont fait renvoyer pour... voilà, insubordination. So, they got themselves sent away. So, they got themselves, the action was done to them, and the sending away was done by someone else. And there, the correction that would need to take place is there would be no S on the fait. Number 2, les techniciens qu'il a fait embaucher seront sur place mardi. So, the correction there is that there shouldn't be an S after fait. So it's like the technicians that he got employed. So you could just go, well, why use the faire? And if it was that he employed, yeah, les techniciens qu'il a embauché, then embauché would then be qu'il a embauché et acute. It would be the past participle, and that would have an S on the end because it would be a complément direct. It would be like a preceding direct object, okay? So I think what's possibly confusing some of your native French speakers is the necessity to use the faire there. But the point is that he didn't hire them in this sentence. He got them hired, okay? Number 3, les travaux we've talked about qu'on a fait voter n'ont jamais été effectués. So the work that one got voted on weren't carried out. It's sort of like saying that the one didn't vote for them, they got them voted for. La banquette qu'elle s'est fait livrer ne tient pas dans son salon. Okay, so again, the banquette, there you've got an infinitive. So in this case, it's the thing that she got delivered for herself. But again, you've got an infinitive after the se faire. So, le client a-t-il payé la facture qu'on lui a fait parvenir? So, basically, number 5 is correct because there's nothing on the end of it. You're always going to read FAIT, okay? So, it's this difference of whether you're doing a verb or whether you're having the verb done to someone else. Number 6, la société s'est fait connaître grâce à une vidéo postée sur Internet. That would be wrong. It's la société s'est fait connaître. So now that's somewhat figurative there. The company made itself known, got known. But again, general rule: if you have an infinitive after the reflexive with faire, you don't use an e or a t on the you don't use an e or an s on the faire. Les devis qu'elle a fait établir ont été approuvés par l'intendant. So basically, the quotes that she got established, she's not quoting the. That's the thing you need to remember. In these examples, she's not getting the quotes established. She's not establishing them. She's getting them established. Les ouvriers se sont fait payer en liquide. So the workers got paid in cash. No need for the S there. Yeah, that's the mistake. Yeah. Les radiateurs qu'on a fait installer. So I think the ones that you possibly don't understand so much are when you're not using the je me suis, tu t'es, il s'est. And let me know if that's correct, Phil. So the rule is you are never going to use an added E or an added S if you use reflexive with faire followed by an infinitive. Okay. So for example, les radiateurs qu'on a fait installer sont en fonte. Okay, so basically the radiators that one got installed or we got installed. We didn't install them. I mean, it might be tantamount to the same thing, but that's not what the French is saying, all right? Les badges que j'ai fait imprimer ne sont pas encore disponibles. Again, you've got an infinitive. So it's regardless of whether you use reflexive with faire or regardless of whether you insert a faire before your eventual infinitive. So for example, the badges that I printed, les badges que j'ai imprimés. Imprimé would be I-M-P-R-I-M-E acute and an S because badge would be plural. The badges that I got printed, now it might be I was the majority person behind that verbal action, but if I'm just saying, oh, I got them printed, okay, it would normally mean I was behind somebody else printing them. That's basically the idea, okay? I hope that kind of answers your question a little bit, Phil. Let me just go back to what you actually said and make absolute sense of this. So I will pop the link to the original video. I will pop the link to your question. I'll pop it all underneath. Let's just literally read your question one more time. Help! Please can you explain the difference between using avoir fait and être fait? So basically, if I didn't look at the projet Voltaire, Phil, and I just looked at your question, okay, there's plenty of times you use avoir fait. Après avoir fait mes devoirs, after doing my homework. But I think what you mean is, why do you use avoir fait in those examples and why do you use ce with être? That's the difference, isn't it? It's not about using être and fait, it's about using the reflexive. So question one, why do we use être there? Because if you do anything reflexively, you are going to use être as your auxiliary verb, Phil. So I washed the car, j'ai lavé la voiture, I washed myself, je me lave, je me suis lavé. I'm going to use the reflexive. I'm going to use être when I use the verb reflexively. So that is why être is being used there. So if you look at all the examples that were given, it's a mixture, a complete mixture of something somebody did to themselves, or something somebody got done to themselves, or something somebody got done to something else. All right? And that is absolutely why sometimes it will be être and sometimes it will be avoir. So if we just quickly look again at the text, the examples that are there. So number one, they got sent away for their insubordination. Speak English, you putain de merde, their insubordination. Yeah, so they got themselves sent away. They were then the object of the verb. The technicians did the verb. Okay. No, sorry, the technicians that he got hired, okay? It's not the technicians that got themselves hired, in which case that would be les techniciens, qui se sont fait embaucher, yeah? The work didn't get anything voted. The work is that one or we, depending how you're using en, got voted. So again, that's going to be avoir. La banquette qu'elle s'est fait livrer, the banquette didn't get itself delivered. It's the banquette that she got delivered. Okay, so again, for herself. So that's going to be the reflexive. The client, a-t-il payé la facture qu'on lui a fait parvenir? Parvenir is kind of get to, so basically get across to. So the client, has he paid the bill that we to him got across? So in other words, that we got across to him. Yeah. So again, that will be with faire, with avoir, because someone else did this. So if you basically link it to your basic sentence, Phil, Luc made me speak, Luc me fait parler, Luc m'a fait parler, that would just be normally with avoir. Just be normally with avoir. Yeah? Yeah? Side note, can I remind you, Luc made me happy. That would be Luc m'a rendu content. Okay? So how are we doing for time? I think we're just about all right. Good. So let me know if that makes sense, Phil, and I will speak to you guys soon. I'll pop it all underneath.